Camera's a little off.
All right. What's up, Blueprint family? Thank you all for joining us tonight. We have a great topic for you all tonight. And it is on and about how to heal insecurities when you're in a relationship.
Mhm.
So I think this is a great topic first to know to recognize what these insecurities are and what they look like, and then also to how to correct those.
Mhm. Yeah. We often mention that, you should heal your insecurities before getting into a relationship. But what about if you don't find out that you have an insecurity until you're in a relationship? What do you do then? That's a real thing, especially considering, when you're single, it's just you. It's not really the opportunity for reflection that a relationship provides.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a real thing. And tonight we're gonna dig on into what, kind of why this happens and what to do about it.
Yo, and then also too, I just wanted before we begin, wanted to say this is a live call-in show. So for all those people who are on Instagram and YouTube, please, if you feel compelled to, please leave a comment in the chat box. You can also too join us live. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. We're here for you. Our show is mainly based on families and relationships. We'll try to stay on topic with those. We ask, and if you can also too like and share and subscribe our videos on Instagram and YouTube. Instagram, switch over to YouTube. You can see high definition video and audio as well. So let's begin. And back on the topic of how to heal insecurities when in a relationship. So believe it or not, relationships can trigger insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
When we are in a relationship, we are more vulnerable and exposed to other people's judgments.
Yeah.
So this can trigger insecurities that we may not have been aware of before. So for example, if we are insecure about our appearance, we may become more self-conscious about how we look in front of our spouse. Or if we are insecure about our intelligence, we may worry about what our spouse is, worry that our spouse is smarter than we are.
Yeah.
And we worry that eventually they will leave us. Those are some sort of examples of insecurities within a relationship and what it looks like.
Yeah.
Especially your looks. A lot of people are intimidated by their looks, and when their partner goes out and see in public someone else, like the 80-year-old grandma short that we got rolling right now.
Yeah.
That people are watching and laughing at. So
those are the more extreme examples, but we utilize those as teaching moments because they really can serve as that type of opportunity, especially when you're able to look at things from a different perspective. It offers a learning experience, and that's really what we're all about. So for sure. One thing that I always think about is that relationships can certainly bring up unresolved childhood issues. That is a very, very common thing for it to take place because especially many of our insecurities are actually rooted in childhood experiences. So, for example, if we were bullied as a child, we may develop insecurities about our worth or, lovability, if you really feel like you're good enough. All of this is really important and really sets the tone for how you think as an adult. Especially if you were raised by critical parents, you may have developed some type of insecurity around your performance or even your appearance. And then when you enter a relationship, these unresolved childhood issues can surface again. And so that will end up leading to feelings of insecurity that may not have taken place had you not gotten into that relationship. So I always like relationships offer that opportunity for growth. We really see that.
Right. Yeah. And, it is important to see these things. And you mentioned childhood issues. And, a lot of times we don't really recognize those things until someone tells us.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, you're just going through life thinking that your characteristics and what you do are normal, but they're not, as far as dealing with relationships and how you treat other people and how you treat yourself.
Yes, importantly. Yeah, how you treat yourself. Yep, so true.
So relationships can highlight our differences. So when we are in a relationship, we are constantly comparing ourselves to our partner. Yeah. So this can lead us to notice and focus on our differences. Not saying that is the right thing to do. I would advise not to do those things.
Yeah, certainly.
But rather than our similarities. So for example, if our spouse is more outgoing and social than we are, we may start to feel insecure about our own social skills.
Yeah.
Or if our spouse is more successful than we are, we may start to feel insecure about our own accomplishments. I think the both of those are very great examples.
Yeah.
You may be at a party and your wife is attracting all this attention, and or vice versa. The husband may be attracting a lot of attention, and then the wife feels, you know, upset and mad at him at the end of the night because he was getting all the attention and everyone wanted to talk to him,
Yeah.
or about his accomplishments, or if the wife is not accomplishing much, or if the husband isn't, and then people are noticing, and that may trigger feelings of insecurity.
Yeah, and could possibly breed competition. One of the main things we really try to focus on steering relationships away from, because that will certainly, bring up more problems.
Competition. I think that's one of the reasons why those Hollywood divorces happen, is that you have two big egos together, and then
Yeah.
one ego is getting the benefit of the relationship, other than the fact of not having the proper expectations and boundaries set up in relationship.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think one of the other reasons is that competition of egos, dealing with those
Mhm.
celebrity um, relationships and things like that. Of course, one of them is personality traits. Sometimes you're compatible with somebody, sometimes you're not. The alpha female and alpha male type personality traits, sometimes those can be overbearing in a relationship, and you see those a lot in those Hollywood relationships. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, um,
Yeah.
it is important to note that everyone experiences insecurities from time to time.
Yeah.
It is only when insecurities become persistent and interfere with our relationships that they become a problem.
Yeah, and that's usually when, you'll see, hey, am I feeling, some type of way towards my spouse, or did something trigger me, or, something like that. It's a whole bunch of things that can spark that up.
Right. And I think that, you mentioned that, there's something triggered me. I don't think that people really think of it that way. They just think that,
Mhm.
oh, I'm mad and I'm mad and upset, instead of thinking, why do I feel this way?
Yes, stepping back. I think that's a very important thing to do, and not so much try to take ownership of, I guess, those negative feelings or what goes on right away, and more so looking at it from an opportunity to analyze and observe and say, where did this come from? Is this really my thought? Is it something that I picked up from childhood? Is it something that I picked up, from a past relationship that hurt? Something along the lines of reasons why I may think this thought. And then, of course, we'll get into some certain ways of how you can tackle that. But yeah, you got to be able to come aware of, if something is triggering you, and really if it's something that you can get a handle on and stop allowing it to trigger you. But let's dig into 7 specific insecurities a person might not find out they have until they're in a relationship. This kind of goes into what this may look like in a relationship actively, and usually how it plays out.
Yeah, but number one, attachment insecurity. So this is
Yeah.
a fear of getting too close to someone, or feeling, or the fear of being abandoned.
Yeah.
So people with attachment insecurities may have difficulty trusting their partners, or expressing their needs. So they may have difficulties with trust in their relationship with their spouse,
Yeah.
and or expressing, when things are wrong, when they need to speak up, they don't. Things like that.
Yeah, we talk a lot about fear of abandonment, and sometimes this may be rooted in a fear of neglect or something like that. So you really just gotta
Right.
pay attention. Yeah.
Yep. And one of the signs that you're suffering with this, you say things like, you're going to leave anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to leave anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and go.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well get a divorce.
Mm-hmm. Or you're gonna cheat anyway.
Right.
Or yeah. Mm-hmm.
So those are, if you know somebody who's saying these type of things, they need to listen to this information that we're giving them, because they will find out through this information that they have insecurity issues that they need to resolve.
Yeah.
As well. So make sure that you can share this video with folks, because it really is an eye-opening thing.
Yeah.
We go on saying things in our lives not knowing that they're related to some sort of trauma that we've gone through, or either we don't believe that we have any trauma. We're perfectly fine. I'm fine. I don't need no help.
Mm-hmm. It's somebody else.
Right.
You did something to make me feel this way. Mm-hmm.
Right. There's always somebody else dealing with these folks, and y'all know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So you make sure that they listen to this information, give it to them, any way that you can present it to them.
Or even if it's you,
Right.
that's okay too. This is a
Right.
no judgment free zone. It's really about awareness. We always dig deep into what this can look like, putting a label to something, naming it, so then that way you can recognize it, see it for within yourself if you see it, and then work about changing it, because you're never going to change anything you don't become aware of.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next is this emotional insecurity. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a fear of not being good enough for your spouse, or of not being able to meet their needs and
Yeah.
expectations. So people who suffer from emotional insecurity may be overly critical of themselves, or may have difficulty accepting compliments.
Yeah, that's certainly one that I think is rooted in maybe neglect from childhood, or overly critical parents, or parents that were really, really hard on you. All of that can really damage your emotions if you aren't compensated with some good old loving, right behind the criticism. If it doesn't become, constructive criticism, it's really important to have that too.
Or next, physical insecurities, of course. So this is a fear of not being attractive enough for your spouse. So
Yeah.
people who suffer from this physical insecurity may be overly critical of their appearance, and uh, may be consistently comparing themselves to others.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the most
How do
common
you how
one.
do you recognize these people? People with
Well,
physical
I think that
insecurities.
if
I got
your
some.
spouse is always like, how does this make me feel? Or I feel fat, or I look fat, or do you see this, or this gray hair, or this, pointing out continuous things you don't like.
Another one I believe is that all that caked up makeup and wigs, different
Mm,
colored wigs and things like that.
yeah.
I think that is a emotional
Physical insecurity.
security
Yeah.
as well. Not thinking that you yourself
Are
without
beautiful enough.
makeup,
Mhm.
yep, are
Like
beautiful
God
enough.
didn't complete his job already.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
it's
So
real. Yeah, it's a real thing. And especially within, the Black and brown communities, the
I think it's everybody
beauty,
community.
yeah, but beauty ideologies are often rooted in some sort of hatred for
Self,
self.
yeah,
So
self
yeah.
hatred.
Yeah.
Yeah, love yourself, people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Really, really, really.
and then financial insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious. So this is a fear of not being able to provide for oneself or one's spouse, family,
Yeah.
altogether financially. So people with financial insecurities may be reluctant to spend, or may feel embarrassed about their financial situations.
Mm-hmm.
Times are harder, people. That's one reason why we do condone marriage today, is because times are harder financially. So
It's
you,
easier together. Yeah.
yeah, it is. Marriage is a business. It's easier to save, especially if you have a spouse who's resourceful. That
Yeah.
person, you all can work together in order to be financially secure. It's better to work together unless you yourself are making a two-person income, and you're perfectly fine with being alone.
Yeah.
That's the option is yours, the choice is yours. But we always, we always choose the family first, as that is a great, you know, way to build communities and nations. So
Yeah. And the
family first,
financial world favors families for
right?
sure.
Of
And
course.
right along with, the usual tax
Especially dealing
benefits
with
and all that other
taxes. Yeah,
stuff.
tax
Yeah.
benefits. Taxes are going up every year.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that, until somebody do something about this inflation. So just be, mindful of that.
Oh, I think it's gonna go up anyway because of the bond spike that nobody seems to be talking
You mean
about.
the
The
crash?
bond, yeah,
Yeah.
with their
So I
got
mean,
money to pay back.
They'll
So
talk once, if something else crashes. But believe
yeah,
me,
look into that, guys, for sure.
bond market crash.
Not to kind of digress off the topic, but
Well, we're talking
I
about
think,
finances.
yeah, I think finances though is one that even in today's society, it's not even just a gender thing. At one point, it was certainly for men, the added pressure of making sure that your finances and stuff is up too. But I think now women are looked at the same way as you got your stuff together, like like as a single person to be able to take accountability for yourself and take care of yourself, and not look for anyone to just come in and fix your whole situation.
Right,
It really
because
does go both
yeah,
ways.
bills need to be paid, and
Yeah.
women look at money. Women, one of the things they want to make sure that their husbands can do is provide, or pull their fair share when it
Yeah.
comes to finances. Men, we don't necessarily look for that unless you are not working yourself, or you
Yeah.
don't make enough money yourself, and you're looking for somebody to financially provide for you.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't I would not consider that
Not as a man.
as a man.
Yeah.
No, not at
No.
all.
Yeah, and even still too, as a woman, I still think it's important for women to gain up, our financial literacy and actually being able to gain financial knowledge so that we can make better spending decisions for ourselves as well, because it impacts your children and your family as well too, and especially if you can be in agreement with your husband on finances because you both are aware of the right financial decisions to make. So it
Right.
really does help in the long run for
Right.
sure.
And then all I'm gonna say here is retirement. What are y'all gonna do about retirement?
Yeah.
More than likely every day we can't, count on Social Security alone for retirement, and especially your IRAs and things may not be as thick as you want them to be. So what are we doing about retirement, you
Yeah.
all? I know you're seeing more and more baby boomers back in the workforce because they realize that they didn't save enough for retirement today when they started saving 50 years ago or 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So that is a real thing. You got to really strategize, and it's best to work with somebody, work with your spouse in order to strategize towards retirement or either college savings if you want to send your children off to college. It's hard to do that alone as a single parent. So be mindful of that. In relationship, financial insecurity can be overcome with a spouse. It really can be. So.
Yeah, and but kind of leading back to the insecurity aspect, it can also be triggered when you get into a relationship, because now the added pressure of making sure that you guys set up a good financial future for yourself. So again, like we said, it's totally normal to have some insecurities at some point. A lot of times things pop up and it can make you a little insecure just because it's supposed to bring your awareness and your attention to it, so then you can do something about it and change it and become more focused on it. So always look at it from an opportunity for you to learn, and not so much an opportunity to get insecure or down on yourself or beat yourself up. Right. Certainly.
Do we have any questions?
Oh, okay, let me check. Yeah, we got to be good with on that. So far, nothing on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you for joining us. Let's head on over to Instagram. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I don't see any questions, but
okay,
that means you all hopefully are taking in what we're talking about and getting some good information.
I thought I saw something on that thing.
Oh, okay.
Down here. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
All right, so professional insecurity. So this is a fear of not being successful enough in one's career, or of not being able to keep up with with your partner's professional career.
Yeah, accolades.
Right.
Yeah.
So people with professional insecurity may be reluctant to talk about their work, or may feel threatened by their partner's success. You may I think of this as a man who's not making enough money and his wife makes twice as much as he do, or 2/3 more, whatever the case may be. That's a win for both of you all. So you should not try to look at that as a situation of insecurity. And then if you feel that down about it, then put out some resumes.
Yeah.
Try to go out there and fill out some job applications that elevates your income. Then now's the opportunity to do these things, but make sure that if you can find a job, it's recession proof.
Yes.
Because that's very critical now in these times.
Yep. Yeah. That is so true.
That's my jewel to drop.
And women, with kind of like you saying, with women making a lot more now. Well, not a lot more, because that's a discrepancy. That's not true. But women making just as much, as men nowadays is not a big gender difference anymore. I think it actually is a good thing, because it shows that, women are capable of being smart, applying themselves and getting and working and stuff like that. But I think that's a great opportunity too, if women could recognize that opportunity to then find a man who they could share their knowledge with, maybe help build with, or fix, maybe some things that could be a little different in your spouse's, career path or whatever, especially if you're better equipped on the knowledge on this certain path or something like that. You never really know. But I always think about being able to play to your strengths and not being embarrassed if one spouse is, better, quote unquote, about with something than the other spouse, because it's an opportunity for you to then make your spouse, pull your spouse right on up with you in that level. It's a really, really good thing, I think, in the long run. So if more women could get comfortable with doing that, I think it can make a world of difference within relationships, where you could see men progressing further even more because they have, a great woman who is smart right behind them, helping, right along the way, not competing,
Or just be supportive.
Yeah, certainly. It's so many ways that you can help, and that's certainly one way
Positive words of
too.
affirmation.
Yeah, yep, for sure, for sure. Or things like helping out, like you were saying, helping out was like job interviews or those questions that you need help with, or like, training, exams, or it's so many things we talk about that you can do. But it's really about breeding the non-competitive spirit within your relationship and more as a team and wanting to help one another. That's really going to be a beautiful thing about a relationship when you get to that point, if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next, number 6, social insecurity. So this is the fear of being judged or rejected by others.
Yeah.
People with social insecurity may be reluctant to attend social events or may feel anxious when they are around other people.
Yeah,
You
that's a
have that?
different one.
I think you have some of that.
Social insecurity.
Because
I don't really
like
care.
to go anywhere.
No, you joke. No, that isn't that. It's more so me loving my alone time to charge. I take in energy so easily. I'm a very empathetic person, so I love
So
that alone time to charge. It has nothing.
That's energy. Then we have to
care
add
less
eighth.
what other people
We have
think of
the
me.
8th one is energy insecurity.
Yeah, the 8th one, energy.
When you're sensitive
that
to
is not
the fear
an
of being too
insecurity.
sensitive to energy or not having enough of it. That's what that is. That's a restraint.
I gotta look into that.
That's a
you
trauma.
caught me off guard with that. I gotta look.
If it ain't one, I made it tonight, and y'all saw it. That's the proof. So I invented it. Energy insecurity. Number 7.
We do go places with people. That is not the case. And I'm the most outgoing person, but I really could care less, what people personally think about me. It's not really my problem. I just.
No, but that ain't the problem. You said this. You're not social.
But
insecure.
that's social insecurity.
You're
when you have a
insecure.
fear of being judged. That's not insecurity. But we digress.
And number 7 is intellectually insecure. So this is a fear of not being smart enough or not being able to keep up with one spouse's intellectually. The IQ, of course, not everyone is built the same when it comes to IQ.
Yeah.
Not everybody can solve a Rubik's Cube. Mm-hmm. I have yet to do it. I've seen it done once, but I haven't done it. I don't really care to be honest with you. But people with intellectual insecurity may be reluctant to share their ideas or may feel threatened by their spouse's intelligence. Mm-hmm. You need to communicate your ideas when it comes to life safety, of course, and critical situations and things like that. Or if just to make life better, communicate with your spouse about things like that.
Yeah, you both don't have to be Einsteins in the relationship. Some people don't even care if their spouse thinks, that's not what they desire from a spouse, them to be super smart. So if your spouse is super intelligent, that's okay.
That's a plus.
Love that about them.
You need to encourage that and nurture it and help that grow, because you never know when you need, the lack of intelligence is an issue. So when there's someone you're with that has a lot of intelligence, then you need to foster that, to be honest with you.
Don't let it get you insecure. See it as an opportunity for you, again, like we always say, to sharpen yourself up, and
you don't even have to be threatened by that. Just embrace it and just, that's a part of you. Mm-hmm. That's a part of you now. Your spouse is a part of you, so you both are equally as intelligent. If you add it together, you all are more intelligent together than apart.
Yep.
If you add it together, so add the IQ scores together, 59 and 150, or whatever the case may be. So,
and you're well on your way.
Yeah. So if you find yourself having insecurities when in a relationship, here are some things that you can do to help.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just thinking though, because we already kind of tackled the first step of it, the identifying your insecurities. That's always a given, the first thing you got to do. So taking that time to identify any insecurities that we may have hit on, or maybe even some more that we haven't talked about. What was that one you just came up with?
Energy insecurity.
Maybe It's okay. But just just think to yourself, what are some things that I'm maybe insecure about? Is it your appearance, maybe your intelligence, your career, social skills, whatever it is? Think about, maybe what they are, because once you know what your insecurities are, then you can start to address them. But of course, remember to be non-judgmental in this. This isn't a time your mind will really start to feel bad, and you won't be able to reach the stage of actually being able to address something and seeing the solution for something if you're kind of meddling in the problem or feeling bad or hard on yourself. So don't judge yourself when you recognize that you may have some insecurity. Instead, then, like I was saying, take that moment to detach from it and say, hey, what is this? I'm recognizing maybe some jealousy here. Or I'm recognizing maybe some insecurity about my career here. What is this about? This isn't mine. Don't take ownership to it. Just see it for what it is and then start to smooth it on out. So, for example, if you start to say, like, I'm insecure about my appearance, one great thing is to start writing down all the things that you do like about yourself, the things that you love about yourself. And then you can start to brainstorm ways you can enhance those features, or the features that you may not like about yourself. How can you enhance them naturally without, having to go in and do anything too dramatic, but just maybe implementing some natural things like, eating well, taking care of your body, wearing things that are flattering to you, little things like that that can sure be on your way to making yourself feel more confident.
Yep. And then next, be sure to challenge your negative thoughts. So we talked about negative thoughts a lot. And
Yeah.
if you're if you're having insecure thoughts, ask yourself, is it really true?
Yeah.
Is there any evidence to support it, or are you just catastrophizing? The thing
Mm-hmm.
is also to replace those negative thoughts with positive ones,
Mm-hmm.
the opposite. So, for example,
Yeah.
so if you have the thought, my spouse is going to leave me for someone more attractive, ask yourself, is there any evidence to support this? Has your spouse ever given you any indication that they are unhappy with your appearance? If not, then your thoughts are probably just a production of your insecurities.
Yeah.
Good example.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you know whether your spouse have a track record of not wanting to be with somebody. It could be other things. More than likely, it really isn't you, to be honest with you. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Just being able to challenge those thoughts, like you're saying. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And really see, am I, is this, what's up about that? And then it offers you the opportunity to then talk to your spouse about those insecurities if you do have any, because it is very important that you're honest with your spouse about how you're feeling. We always say this: communication is huge. It's how you get through anything in a relationship. But this offers the opportunity, especially when you're talking about something like your appearance. Let's keep on that one because it's the easy one. But if you're insecure about your appearance and you can tell your spouse, like, hey, I'm feeling a little insecure about my appearance, maybe they can offer you some support or some reassurance, something that can help you see yourself in a more positive light. That's again why your spouse, or a good spouse, would be there for in a moment where you're feeling low and you're feeling insecure, to not take it out on your spouse, which we're going to get into, late and shortly, but in particular to offer it as an opportunity for you to be honest with your spouse and say, hey, I'm going through some things in my mind. Maybe you're, insecure about your career and you're not feeling like you're living up to your full potential. Offer that opportunity for your spouse to come in and say, hey, no, I support you. I reassure you. Just offer some things that can give you a boost in your confidence, even when you're, feeling a little low. It's really going to come in handy, especially if your spouse is a good one to help you with that.
Yep. And it is important to not take your insecurities out on your spouse because it can damage your relationship in a number of ways.
Yeah.
So prevent that from happening. So it can make your spouse feel unloved and unappreciated. So, for example, if you are insecure about your appearance, you might begin to criticize your spouse's appearance.
Yeah.
So this can make you feel bad about yourself and damage their self-esteem.
Make them feel bad
Yeah,
about themselves.
right.
Yeah.
Sorry. So this can lead to feelings of resentment and alienation. and that's a form of also competition within the relationship.
And it could be abuse,
Of course.
borderline abuse. These things can go, from one extreme to the next, but it doesn't have to be this bad. But even just something like, like you were saying, just constantly telling your spouse or projecting onto your spouse that they may not look as good, or maybe they gaining a little weight, or whatever the case may be, because you're actually the one that's insecure. So that's certainly taking that out on your spouse. Or for example, if you're insecure about your career, then you may, start to compare yourself to your spouse, and then start to make them feel guilty for being successful. And that's certainly not what you want in a relationship. You should want your spouse to be successful. And if you're feeling, unsuccessful or whatever, and you take it out on them and start to make them feel that way, it's certainly going to cause some resentment and some tension within the relationship. So can't let those insecurities get the best of you.
Hmm. Or if you are insecure about your social skills, you may accuse your spouse of being more social than you or being embarrassed by you.
Mm-hmm.
So this can make your spouse feel like they have to walk on eggshells around you.
Yeah, and that's okay. People like to socialize in different levels, and just being able to talk about this within your relationship and be honest about it is a great thing. I like to think back how you even just brought up me, and how I don't often like to go too many places, or whatever the case may be. But again, that's a conversation of where and that's why you joke, but I'm very sensitive about my energy, and I take in a lot of energy, and just being able to be honest about this, because we are two totally different people, and then being able to find that compromise of, hey, okay, if we had a busy weekend come up, then maybe during the weekday we don't do too much, or whatever the case may be, so your spouse may not feel drained. Or for example, if your spouse is really embarrassed to go out in large crowds and be around with all your friends, if you are a really big popular person, then doing some things or incorporating some activities along with your spouse that can make your spouse feel more comfortable, because they're also enjoying themselves and enjoying the experience. So just being able to come together and really look at your commonalities and your differences, and try to figure out that good middle sweet spot, where you both can be happy and live with it.
Yep. Unaddressed insecurities can create a cycle of negativity. So, for
Yeah.
example, when you lash out at your spouse, they may be more likely to lash out at you, of course, in return. So they'll cause an argument. So this
Yeah.
can create a vicious cycle of negativity and conflict that can be difficult to break out of.
Yes, it really can. And of course, overall, all of this will erode the foundation of the relationship that you have started. That's certainly not something you want. Trust and respect are essential for any relationship to work. So when you take your insecurities out on your spouse, it can undermine those foundational principles that you have set up to be loving and trusting and caring for each other. And overall, it's going to make it difficult to maintain this loving bond. So really be sure to pay attention and see where I could be projecting my insecurities, and not do that to your spouse, but instead take it as a moment for you to embrace them and let them into your world, to see how they maybe can help you and how you guys can work together through this issue.
This is why it is important to learn to manage your insecurities in a
Yeah.
healthy way and protect your relationship.
Yeah. Yep.
So focus, number 4. So focus on your strengths. So make a list of all the things that you like about yourself.
Yeah.
So this could include your personality traits, your accomplishments, and your physical features. Reading over your list regularly can help you to build your self-esteem and feel more confident. So for example, your list might include things like, I am kind, I am intelligent, I am good, I am a good friend, I am a hard worker, I have a good sense of humor, I have beautiful eyes, etc.
Yeah. All types of affirmations. I think about, if you did not get this type of loving programming in childhood, be sure to take the time to then go back and reparent yourself and give yourself all those positive thoughts, that positive love, that positive reinforcement that you need. So literally get in that mirror and tell yourself, you're beautiful. I'm beautiful. I'm intelligent. Tell yourself these things and get used to saying it. Make it a regular part of your day. And let's be honest, if your conscious mind is making it a little hard for you to take in these affirmations, because that's the real thing. Sometimes our insecurities can be so subconsciously rooted that even saying your affirmations or listening to affirmative things sometimes won't sink in. A big tip that I always recommend is to then practice or utilize your affirmations while you're asleep, because what that does is it shuts down the conscious mind and allows you access to your subconscious mind. You get rid of any, deep programming thoughts that consciously are easily for you to grab onto, and instead you allow yourself to slumber and take in all those positive affirmations into your subconscious. That way you wake up in the morning and you can really feel like a whole new person. This is a real science-based activity that you can do to really reprogram yourself. So please take the time to love yourself and do the things you need to do so that you can start feel confident about yourself and your relationship overall.
Oh, practice self-care. So take care of yourself physically and mentally.
Yeah.
So these things can help to improve your overall well-being and make you feel more confident. That's what you really need to be building, is your self-confidence. So this includes eating a healthy diet, getting regular exercise, and getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
It also includes doing things that you enjoy and that makes you feel good about yourself. You can also make time for activities that you enjoy, such as spending time with loved ones, reading, or listening to music.
Yeah. Yep. That is for sure some great ways to make you feel good, right? And enjoy life, because that's really what you should be doing. Enjoying life, enjoying the ride. You may not be exactly where you want to be, or you may not be as fit as you want to be, or as beautiful as you want to be. That's okay. Just enjoy where you're at right now. Look and appreciate life where it's at right now. That appreciation, that reaching for those better feeling thoughts will certainly help you attract more opportunities for you to feel more confident about yourself, for you to feel good about yourself and love yourself and your spouse.
Now, it is important to remember that everyone has insecurities from time to time. It is only when insecurities become persistent and interfere with our relationships that they become a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're struggling with insecurities in your relationship, seek third-party help
Yeah.
if you have to. So if you're struggling to cope with your insecurities on your own, consider getting help from a coach, counselor, therapist, consultant. So they can help you to understand the root cause of your insecurities, and you can develop a plan for addressing your insecurities and building your self-esteem.
Yeah. Please do
Understand
that.
these things too also won't happen overnight, but the more and more that you practice these developmental exercises and things like that to address your issues, you will get more better and better at it. You'll get better and better at it, minus the more.
Yeah, and be patient with yourself. That's a big thing. It takes time to overcome those long, deep-seated and rooted insecurities, especially if maybe you've noticed you might have been insecure your whole life. That's okay. That shows you got to be just as long patient and caring and loving for yourself. The same amount of time that you were insecure, you got to put that amount of time into loving yourself and building your self-confidence and building yourself up. So I think just in general, by working on some of the things that we've talked about tonight, it puts you on a great start just by being here tonight, right? Showing up, showing up to be in a vicinity of vibratory frequency to where you can reach for better feeling thoughts and solutions is a great, great way to overcome any problem you have.
Right. Because after all, you all saw the title of our tonight's show. So you all felt the need to be here. Whether you're addressing insecurities on your own, or like I said before, either someone else who is. So kudos to you for stepping out and taking the first step, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So continue to do that. Continue to develop that positive self-image of yourself. Feel more confident in yourself and in your relationship. I think that will overall make a world of a difference for you and helping you to even achieve your goals in the long run. You are worthy of success and love and all the things that you can imagine. The only thing you have to do is really align yourself to that. And it really does start with your thoughts. So if you can align your thoughts to believing that you are worthy of it, to believing that you can have it, you can do it, you are doing it, that is an amazing, amazing way to stay right on track. So all those more amazing things coming into your life. So thank you all for joining us tonight. I think that's all I got. That's all you got?
Yeah, good show, good show. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to participate? video call, video chat, anything. Anybody got anything they want to share?
Let me check. Full House on Instagram. Thank you
As
all for
always.
showing up as usual. And our YouTube. Good to see you. And Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have another great topic for tomorrow. Is this Wednesday? It's Wednesday.
Yep, Wednesday night.
Over the week.
Yep, almost. Over the hump.
Over the hump.
Over the week. So tomorrow, Thursday, we will see you all same time, same place. Bring your questions, topics, all of that. If you want to post some anonymous questions, go to www.questions. Have a wonderful